So as a full stack developer, you are supposed to build front end website. That is the website when user visits which they'll be seeing. Plus you'll be building the backend for that website also, which user will be able to interact with. Something like maybe login, register, and creating some resource, and all those things will be handled by the backend, which you only have to code. That's what full stack web developer does. That working with front end as well as back end in order to build one complete full-fledged website or a web app we can call, because it includes backend also. So when we are talking about full stack web development, that time many technologies gets involved, namely HTML, CSS, JavaScript will be involved in the front end. That will be responsible for displaying and making website look beautiful. And in the back end, it will include backend language and backend database, which will be responsible for storing data, and backend language will be responsible for making sure all the data is protected. What and all things can be changed, that only will be changed by the front end. So when these two separate technologies exist, we need common language to communicate between these two things. That would be using JSON. So when you see JSON, it looks something like this. It is one simple method of exchanging data from front end as well as back end. So using this JSON, we can send certain things from front end to the back end. From back end, we can save it in the database or perform some kind of operation, and from there we can send it to the front end. Whenever we are working with so many technologies, you might feel that, oh my god, like so many technologies are there, and I'm supposed to work with all these things at same time. The thing is, whenever we are building some large scale project or some kind of project, as a full stack web developer, you will be focusing on one thing at a time. So once that thing is developed, you can proceed with developing something else. Here something like HTML, CSS front end you might be coding. Once that is done, you can work with the backend language and connecting to database and all those things you can do. Once that's done, you can again go back to front end and you can connect this front end and back end together so that it works. And when the website works together and you know each and everything inside it, you will feel so good that, oh my god, like whatever I created, it works completely. Whereas front end developers, whenever they are building front end language, it will be like half complete until and unless back end team completes it and gives it. They won't be able to use that front end properly. Same goes for back end developers also. They will be working with API requests and all those things, and until and unless front end people finish their job, they won't be able to see their end product. But as a full stack web developer, you will be working with all these technologies together, and you will make sure that everything works fine in the front end website. So whenever we are working with this full stack web development, there are mainly two options. One thing is you separate front end and back end. When you do that, you will be able to use some kind of framework in the front end and some kind of framework in the back end. Maybe in the front end, you will be using something like Vue.js, and in the back end, you might be using something like Nest.js, which is like Node.js framework, or even you can use Django if you're familiar with Python. So when that happens, you will be able to communicate with these two separate technologies using something like a JSON. But now there are like many different options which is available where you can work with one single framework which does both backend as well as front end job for you. Something like Next.js, Next.js, all these things will include API folder also, where you can literally build whatever the backend things which you want to build in there only, so that you can use it in the front end code easily. So Next.js is a React.js framework, meaning you will be using React in order to display front end, and in the back end also you can use something like JavaScript in order to build the API, which I said earlier. And Next.js is made up of Vue.js. So whatever the Vue.js technologies you have, you can use it in the front end. And in the back end, you can use the same JavaScript in order to use some kind of database connectivity, just like how you would do if you are using some separate framework. But either way, these frameworks will make sure that front end and back end works together. And for small projects, this looks fine. And even for medium projects, it's fine. But more than that, in order to build bigger projects, I would highly encourage to keep the backend separate and front end separate, so that you won't get confused and entire code won't be getting meshed in same folder. So in order to become a full stack web developer, you need to have skills of front end developers plus back end developers. So when both of these skills combined, that time you will be able to build one full fledged website or one web application which will be working amazingly. In order for you to become that, you can use some kind of framework like Next.js or Nuxt.js if you are into Vue.js platform in order to build this full fledged web application in same technology. So that's it for this video, guys, and see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like button and see you in the next video. Bye bye.